Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, That here back with a pretty entertaining what if. This is going to be a one-shot style like I've done with my Zoro what ifs. If you guys haven't seen those, they're up in the top upper right-hand corner, and they're pretty funny. And if you guys have been keeping up with the new anime season this year, there is a current anime coming out, Harry Squatter, the boy who lifted, called Mash Bernadette, aka MASHLE Muscles and Magic. It is hilarious. It is so funny. It is one of the funniest shows this season. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's so good. So if you guys need to, go watch it. Go watch it first. It's good. But anyway, today's what if, as you can see from the title and thumbnail, is what if MASH was in My Hero Academia's protagonist position instead of Deku? So instead we'll be switching who was born. MASH won the race, alright? You guys get what I'm saying? Deku is not born. Instead, the Chad himself, MASH, is. So, we're gonna get right into the story now. So, basically, like I addressed in the intro, Mash Bernadette would be the one born as Mash Midoriya, which ironically sounds kind of good. What do you guys think? I think it sounds pretty solid. But anyway, Mash Midoriya would be born. And unlike our current protagonist, Izuku, who's a big crybaby and was picked on by Bakugo for all those years, immediately from when MASH is born, MASH would, instead of taking an interest in heroes, would take an interest in gains. The only content MASH is watching is those cooking YouTubers, how to make cream puffs, because he is a cream puff demon, and he still makes them as a young child. MASH would have no desire to become a hero or anything really, but he would still be going to the same school with Bakugo, just like the original timeline, and eventually everyone would start getting their quirks. Except for MASH, because he's quirkless. MASH is not a crybaby. If anything, he's the opposite, stoic and completely silent, even a bit eerie so. So before everyone had started manifesting their quirks, he was already pretty popular as being the tough guy of their class, with Baku and him being considered equals and good friends. That is, until the quirks started developing, because then Bakugo's head started blowing up, bigger than one of MASH's cream puffs, which he would have frequently brought to school before this point to give to his fellow classmates. It's after this point where his accidental strength training starts to begin, because while Bakugo would try to bully him with his other friends now that it was revealed after going to the doctor that MASH was quirkless, Bakugo would have started calling him Mush, since he has nothing good about him, like a pile of mud. And because even though he tried to attack him with his explosion quirk, which at this point is basically just little sparks, it would do nothing to him, so at this point MASH thought that Bakugo was just playing around with him. Man, Kachan, you're such a nice guy. It's so nice of you to make sure that I carry your guys' backpacks every day so that I can work on my strength, since I don't have a quirk like the rest of you guys. Yes, Bakugo had been unable to harm him, do anything to him, and as such has just started making him carry his things, which is going to backfire because now this has given MASH an idea. Since Bakugo wants him to be a hero just like him so much, how could he let his friend down? And so this is when MASH starts taking up strength training on his own, even asking his mom for weight sets for his birthday and Christmas with any money he has. And just like that, years would go by, and MASH would only grow stronger, just like in his own anime, to the point where he's already a freakish monster to the point when he's in middle school and about to graduate, and with Bakugo wanting to go to UA, he has no ideas of his own, figuring that he'll just follow Kachan, since that's what he's basically done for the rest of this time. Gah, stupid mush! I don't want you to go to UA with me, you understand? If you apply to UA, I'll blow your brains out! Man, Kachan, it's so nice of you to motivate me like that, to get even stronger and so I can become a hero like you. Wow, so inspiring. Gah, just shut the hell up! Yes, Baku at this point has stopped bullying Mush, aka MASH, because everything he's done hasn't worked. He's tried blowing up his textbooks, he's tried throwing him out of the window, he's tried everything, and MASH just continues to survive. As MASH is heading home from school that day, eventually the same situation would occur just as it did in the original timeline of My Hero Academia, where a certain sludge villain would attack him. Seeing the buff young boy, this guy would be the perfect host for him to escape from that guy. As All Might is still on the hot tails of that weird sludge guy, suddenly he would see him go flying and splatter against a building. Man, that was so gross. He almost touched my cream puffs. All Might would be amazed, running down into the tunnel to see which hero could have done that, seeing a boy wearing a middle school uniform from around this area. This would be MASH. MASH would turn, looking into All Might's eyes with his golden ones, asking, "Yo, What's your name again? While All Might is busy being impressed and also terrified at this young child, the sludge villain would escape. All Might would be busy scolding MASH for attacking a villain. Even if you have a powerful quirk like that, that's just completely irresponsible. All Might would suddenly start coughing. Blood would leak down from his lips. Well, till we meet next time. I'm out of here. Bye-bye, MASH would say, waving, as All Might leaps up into the air and flies away with his strength. MASH would yawn as he turns around ready to go home, but as he does, he starts feeling his pockets, realizing that he left his prized possession, his cream puffs that he had been offering to Kacchan at school. Oh, right. Yeah, I was gonna give them to him, but I left them in my gym locker. Elsewhere, we see Bakugo with his friends out at an arcade as a certain sludge would begin to move around where Bakugo had kicked a can. This sludge in this alleyway would begin to move as it revitalizes itself and begins turning back into its full form, annoyed at that brat who had destroyed him. Bakugo's friends would look up, screaming as they run away, with Bakugo turning around, being horrified as the sludge villain attacks him. While MASH is walking back to his school to go and get his cream puffs, he would hear screams and see a large crowd surrounding something. Huh? What's that? MASH would walk over, looking as he is taller than most even adults, looking over them as he sees Kacchan being attacked by that sludge villain guy. Before any heroes could do anything or even stop MASH, it would look as if though he had teleported, because MASH would be on the scene running towards the sludge villain. The sludge guy who had been taking over Bakugo's body, seeing MASH, would start screaming. In fact, both Bakugo and the sludge villain would start screaming. Yeah, what this kid said, stay the hell away. Kacchan, I'm here to save you. MASH would grab the sludge villain from Bakugo's mouth, ripping it out of Bakugo and throwing a punch of his other hand, the villain flying into the air as the clouds would begin to change, changing the weather and actually causing it to rain. It's always like this with you. Bakugo would run over to the unconscious sludge villain. I would much rather die and let this thing take me over as a flesh suit than let you save me. Mush. MASH would just have the same dead look in his eyes and his face as he waves to Bakugo, saying that he was going to bring some more cream puffs to him. Bakugo would tell him to go away as the police would rush onto the scene, taking the sludge villain and beginning to put him inside of bottles like what All Might was doing to contain him, and asking Bakugo if he's alright, getting the paramedics and such. This is when the other heroes who had been staying in the sidelines would start scolding MASH. What do you think you were doing? You can't just run into a scene like that. Both of you could have been killed. MASH would look down, putting a finger in a circle on the ground, saying, I'm sorry, I just wanted to save my friend. All the reporters would start asking MASH what type of quirk he has, and if he's planning to be a hero when he's older. With them interviewing him in such an excited tone, MASH would keep having this dead look in his eyes, as he just wants to go get his cream puffs before they go bad. These hemming and haws would be all that MASH would answer when the news reporters are asking him these questions at such a rapid-fire pace, and MASH would have essentially become a small-time legend in his town from this. All Might would have seen the whole thing in his non-buff form, having waited to jump in himself, and would have been amazed at MASH's power, wondering what kind of quirk that guy has if he's able to even match the power of One for All. But before All Might could track him, MASH would disappear from the scene, sneaking out from the reporters and running off, leaving Bakugo to handle his mess. As MASH makes it back to his middle school, gets his cream puffs and heads home, where we find Midoriya. This time, the canonical reason for why MASH's mom, or I guess former Izuku's mom, is not a baddie anymore, let's just say, is because MASH has been making her cream puffs and making her eat them since he was a small child. Yeah, I know I did her dirty like that, but it's fine, okay? It's fine. Upon seeing how selfless MASH was to save his friend, All Might would have made a choice. Seeing the power and strength and spirit behind that young man, he decided that he would be his next successor. The successor for One for All. After doing a little bit of research and finding the middle school that they both went to, he would try and run into MASH on his way home from school. All Might would watch as MASH on his way home would stop in several bakeries, getting a cream puff from each one and eating them as he walks. Eventually, All Might would follow him to a local park, where he would find inside the woods there would be a huge metal rack with weights that wasn't seemingly supposed to be there. It looked like this park hadn't been used in a long time. He'd watch as MASH picks up the barbell and starts doing lifts, squats, deadlifts, and just the maxes are insane, okay? You get the idea. Wow, he's already even training. It's like he's perfect for inheriting One for All. All Might would appear, telling the young MASH that he has seen his efforts and his dream to become a hero. Having that same speech, as he says with his quirk, it's possible for him to become #1, the next symbol of peace. MASH would look uninterested as he sets his bar down, wiping his head with a towel. He would walk over to All Might, looking at him and ask once again, who are you? All Might would fall over, saying that he's All Might, the symbol of peace and the #1 hero in Japan. MASH would put his fist into his other open palm. Oh, you're that guy that Kacchan used to talk about all the time. I remember you showed me a few videos of you. You're that weird guy who has bunny ear-like hair, huh? All Might would once again fall over, saying, I don't want to hear anything about hairstyles from you with that bowl cut. MASH would look at his hair in the water, saying that he thinks his haircut's perfectly stylish. Anyway, to get to the point, All Might would say that if he desires to become the #1 hero, just tell him, we can start working on you and making you strong enough to become the world's next greatest. No thanks, I'll pass. Oh great, so I'll just need to feed you this Wait, what? Excuse me, what did you just say? MASH would say, oh, I said I pass. I'm only being a hero since Kacchan said he wanted me to be one. All those years ago. MASH had a smile on his face, remembering when the two of them were young boys, and Kacchan said they dreamed about the day that they two could be heroes, both of them fighting villains together. All Might would be stun-shocked by being rejected. Me? Rejected? Well, anyway, I finished my sets for after school, so I'm heading home. See ya. And MASH would just disappear, leaving a cloud of dust as he leaves All Might behind. All Might would have been slightly butthurt by this, deciding that he'll wait a bit and see if MASH actually applies for UA before he jumps the gun. He probably doesn't know what he's talking about anyway. Let's be honest, the entire thing All Might would be super salty about. MASH would pass the next 8 months of school with him and Kacchan both graduating and now their applications for UA starting. MASH would do alright on the test portion of the exam, and eventually the physical portion of the exam would come with him having to fight against those robots, with President Mike explaining how the robot point system works and him meeting Uraraka and everything. Actually, it'd be pretty interesting how that had happened. With MASH walking into school, he would trip on the stair just like the original Izuku had, but before Ochako can even touch him and use her quirk to zero gravity him, he would take his other foot and slam it into the concrete, using it as a foothold and holding himself at a 45-degree angle, pulling himself back up straight. Her eyes would go wide as she sees this, just deciding not to talk to that guy for now, as MASH continues brushing the dust off his outfit as he walks into the event, wearing a black tracksuit. Ida wouldn't like the look of this guy at all, saying that he looks like he has zero passion for being an actual hero. Once the alarms blare as President Mike says to go, 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 MASH would start jogging at a fast pace, easily outpacing everyone. Even Ida, using his quirk, would barely be keeping pace with MASH. As MASH starts running to the first robots, he would start kicking and punching them, making holes through the metal and into the ground. He's already taken down about 20 robots before even most of the contestants have entered into the ring. Everything would be going pretty swell for him, with him accumulating a lot of points. That is until the 0-pointer would show up. Why does it show up? Well, as All Might enters into the camera room, he would see MASH doing well, destroying robots easily. And without any of the other actual gameplay makers doing anything, All Might would press the button saying it's his turn to see how good this guy really is. Let's see it, young Midoriya. Let's see how strong you are. MASH, Midoriya. There would be tears behind that smile. It's not like you needed my quirk anyway. As the 0-pointer appears, Ochako's leg would be stuck under some rubble as the rest of the contestants would run, knowing that this 0-pointer isn't even worth defeating. When Ochako cried out for help, everyone else would have run. But no, not MASH. As the giant foot of the robot's about to crush Ochako, MASH would move forward at blinding speed, standing right underneath it, as Ochako screams, telling him to get out of the way. MASH would hold up both of his hands as the foot comes stomping down with its full force, and nothing happens. Ochako would be shocked, looking horrified as she sees MASH holding the robot's foot off the ground. All of the people watching from the Game Master's room would be amazed, seeing this kid holding up such a strong and humongous robot. MASH would simply push upwards using his lifting quirk, as he pushes the robot up and makes it topple on its back, falling over and destroying it. All Might would have the end of the face from One Piece. What? Seeing this guy was able to completely destroy something that size without even having One for All. What was that quirk he said? A lifting quirk? The test would come to an end with Ochako being completely starstruck by MASH, seeing how cool and kind he was, and subsequently feeling awful for how she had judged him earlier based on his reaction at the front entrance. Eventually, the test results would come, with All Might still being the guy inside of the hologram, announcing that to MASH that he had successfully become a student of UA High. MASH would hold up his cream puff, taking a bite of it, as he lifts both hands, saying, "Yay." In the next few weeks after designing his own hero's costume and receiving his UA High uniform, he would head into Class 1A where he had been assigned. Walking through the door, Bakugo would turn seeing him as his mouth slams into his desk saying, "Oh no, what the hell are you doing here?" If you guys want to see another part continuing the story of if MASH took over the protagonist position of My Hero Academia, make sure to slap the like button and tell me down below if you want this to be more than just a one-shot comedy what if. Because I will continue it if you guys want me to. If this video gets 300 likes, I will continue into part 2, going on to the rest of the My Hero Academia arcs. But if not, I'll leave it here as a one-shot. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ja ne!